Australians of Reddit, since no peace treaty has been signed to officially conclude the Emu War, how has life in this constant state of war been for you? Who do you think started the fires? Pretty brutal, really. My dad was attacked by an emu once. He is bald and his head is a little shiny. He was sitting on a bench at a wildlife park and the emu must have been attracted to the shiny reflection, snuck up behind him and bit his head. I have never seen someone jump so far in one leap before or since. As a child this traumatized me a little and now I am pretty uneasy around all kind of birds. He was lucky to survive. I've seen him peck clean through a man's skull. That was just an initiation ritual for emu recruits. Crikey. Did you know that the Australian slang term crikey, when translated to proper English means crikey? Till. It's tough, but we found a way to survive by developing an edible emu repellent. It's called Vegemite and if eaten daily by the entire population, it works to discourage the emus from coming too close to civilization and terrorizing us. We've kind of reached a balance of mutually assured destruction. We don't bring in the tanks and nukes, they don't bring in the cassowaries and drop bears. Cassowaries are utterly terrifying. Cassowaries are just velociraptors with fabulous makeup and a grudge against the living. They're murder turkeys. Are they delicious? I've heard they're very tough and taste like a cross between chicken and pork but not super flavorful. Of course this is third hand from a guy who barely spoke any English that knew my granddad 60-ish years ago, so I'm not confident. That is more of a source than most comments I believe here. After months of negotiations, the koalas and kangaroos are now our allies. We had to give the kangaroos half of Sydney as part of the terms. The large emus left in Sydney are ostrich-sized. Some of them are immovable. But in darkness I remember, for I dream of what was true, on the morning of November back in 1932. We had chased the fight down under, we were snoozing under stars, when the footsteps came like thunder, and the souvenirs were scars. They had followed us and found us in the silence where we slept, and maneuvered to surround us as we wandered and we wept. There was nothing but the killing, there was little except for death, and the sounds of noises chilling, and the stench of emu breath. And whenever there's a weather where the clouds are drawing in, I can almost see the feather, and my fallen former kin. And in darkness I remember, for I dream of what was true, on that morning of November back in 1932. But the feeling isn't going, and it's worse than that, my friends, for I spend my moments knowing, that it never ever ends. Them long-necked duckers are just waiting for the opportune moment. Considering our country is weakened, and divided by COVID, they are more than likely about to make a move in the coming weeks. They also took all the toilet paper, SMH. That's how they can allure you into the dense bushes. Those bastards. We took back the cities, but it's in our minds that any day could be the day that we need to pick up our whacking sticks to defend our barbecue retreats from another invasion. Eat barbecue, or become barbecue. Australia's unofficial national motto. Well, for starters, my area was stolen from the emus when we drove them off the land. We've built a fine community in its place. The emus have yet to take this land back. Until then, I have yet to see a wild emu anywhere near here. If it were not for the war, I wouldn't be where I am today. Are you sure we are talking emus here? Watch it, mate, or you might find a redback in Erdunny. Whoa, that's a lot of aka for a Saturday night. Lol. Better a redback than a tiger snake daza. Fucking oath, but you can't see the little buggers till they're Mac and Tucker of your family jewels. You are defo on the money there. Especially with the hospital's chock-a-block at the moment, but what kind of drongo doesn't have a squiz before they pop a squat on the thunderbox? Fair dinkum, only a galah don't look before he drops his docks, but if rooted sometimes you don't think. This is Duck and Gold. As a resident of Western Australia, where the majority of the battles have taken place, I am constantly reminded of this ongoing conflict. Every day I see emus, every day emus see me. We see each other as enemies, yet we are the same. Two species grown to fight amongst each other, based on the mistakes of our forefathers. Our emotions, our feelings, our hatred, all defined by our history and surroundings. It has defined our past, it defines our present. However, when I see these flightless aviarians, I see not a faulted species, but a mirror of ourselves. We have only known this conflict, but we shall not be defined by it. Neither of our species can fly. But with peace as a possibility, perhaps we can both soar. I was in Aussie at Christmas. Holy duck, everything was on fire, and now I hear people in Melbourne can't even leave their houses. Just for your future reference, saying an Aussie sounds very wrong to us Aussies. An Aussie is a person, but you were in Australia, pronounced Australia. Yep. Or, you can say I was in Aus for short, but never Oz. Oz is shit. Can confirm, oh shit. If you spell it Oz, you are either running a tourist shop or you are a tourist. Can confirm, was tourist, spell it Oz. East Asia has always been at war with immunation. Always has been. Death to the immunation. Currently in the green zone, otherwise known as Tasmania. Everything is back to normal life now. Things got scary for a little while, but our premier looked after us. Got our borders shut down early and it's paid off. Everyone knows that emus can't fly over the Bass Strait, so we knew that would be advantageous in our victory against the feathered folks. But the rest of Australia, known to us Tasmanians as the mainland, has never fully recovered. Recent reports are showing they have some form of plague there at the moment. Horrid stuff. Onwards and upwards. The fight against the feather never ends. I'm in Victoria, apparently emus are everywhere here, we can't even leave the house for more than an hour a day. That's truly terrifying. I'd send thoughts and prayers, but I'm not sure if they'll get through via carrier pigeon. Our postal service has been under the thumb lately. I wouldn't bother, the Maggies have set up a ring round most towns and nothing is getting in or out. Your pigeon would be toast, well, pate really, at the end. People don't really think about it. We are all preoccupied, watching in horror as our rebel kangaroos conquer Uruguay. We are moving into spring. It is a terrifying time for us all as their allies the magpies launch sorties. Pray for us. I will. You laugh, but having run into these duckers in the wild, I tell you, they would kill you and everyone you love. After they're done torturing you in the chamber, of course. Firstly, thanks for bringing this issue up, it often feels like nobody cares, this is just what the emu loyalists want. Secondly, the war efforts themselves are an ongoing struggle for me and my unfeathered brethren. We try to stick our necks out on war-related issues, but the emus have always had us covered here as evolution has been kind to them when it comes to neck-related advancements and rhetoric. Lastly, our underground movements are gaining traction thanks to the tireless work of the Wombat Alliance, and the Eye in the Sky koala efforts are proving vital to our current and future progress on the front lines. Hope for a COVID vaccine that doesn't work on emus is still in the works, but hope is on the horizon. It is the 41st millennium. For 10,000 years, the Emperor has sat immobile on the heir's throne. He is the master of Australia by the will of the gods and master of millions of blokes by the inexhaustible might of his armies. But for all their multitudes, they are barely enough to hold off the ever-present threat to humanity from invasive species, genetic mutations, and far, far worse. These are the tales of those times. Forget the promise of scientific progress and conservation. There is no peace amongst the outback, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter and the laughter of thirsting gods. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only the emu war. Against the tide of the emu gods of chaos stand the Digger Marines, finest of the Emperor's warriors. Every day I live in constant fear of the emu's inevitable swift and bloody reprisal. I wouldn't wish for anyone to have to live this way, but all we can do is take each day as it comes. My great-uncle Baza has it worse, he fought in the war and it still hurts him to this very day, he can't even see a chicken without having a complete meltdown now. For me, by far the hardest thing about living under the shadow of the emu is hold on, I think something just breached the birdseed perimeter outside my bunker, I hope they don't make it past the line of hanging CDS. I'm gonna go check it. SNO boo you sub SNS.